EC6 Part 2 says compute the bond proceeds assuming that the market interest rate is now 7%. Okay, when it was 8%, when the market rate was 8%, which we had last time right here, okay, so the market was 8%. The bond issued at face value, it was 100% of face value, right? Because you take 2 million divided, or you take the cash proceeds, which are 2 million, divided by the face value of the bond, which is 2 million. It was issued at 100%. It issued at face value. Now we find out that the market rate is 7%, okay? The face value is still 2 million. The stated interest rate, those don't change. The face value and stated interest rate doesn't change. It's printed on the bond, right? So it's still 8%. The number of periods printed on the bond, it's still 10, okay? We still have our two steps. Step number 1, doing the principal. Step number 2, doing the interest. When we do the principal, we deal with the present value of a single sum. When we do the present value of annuity, or when we do interest, we deal with the present value of annuity, okay? All right, so looking at this information that we have, we still have the 2 million being our future value, but this time we have 7% for our market in 10 periods. So let's flip over to our tables again, okay? Our table on page C15 at 10 periods and 7% gives us 0.5083. So we multiply this out, 0.5083, okay? Gives us a total now present value principal portion of 1,016,600, okay? Now let's do the interest portion. First, in order to get our annuity, we have to calculate what the interest payment is. The interest payment, that cash payment, that represents our annuity, right? Well, the interest payment is a component of the face value and the stated interest rate, and those don't change. Those are printed on the bond. So we've already done that calculation in the last problem, the EC6 for the first scenario. So it's still 160,000. So we use that 160,000, but now we have to multiply out times the present value of annuity interest factor using the new market rate, but still the 10 period. So flip over one page to C17, page C17 or table C4, using that present value factor at 10 periods and now 7%, we get 7.0236, 7.0236. And when we multiply that out, we get 1,123,776. Okay? Now, in order to get the cash proceeds, we simply take this and add it with this, and then that combination gives us the cash proceeds. Combined, it should be 2,140,376, and it tells us to round in these dollars, so we'll do 2,140,400. Okay? This is the amount of cash proceeds that we are getting from issuing the bond. Now, the last part of the problem asks us to specify this as a percentage, right? Well, a percentage of what? A percentage of the face value. So if we take the amount of cash proceeds that we're getting and divide by the face value of 2 million, the percentage is, it issues at 107, some other decimals, but 107% basically of the face value, okay? All right, these are the basic steps for calculating the bond proceeds. Remember that we do this in order to calculate what that debit is to cash, right? Our whole journal entry process of debit to cash. In this instance, we have debit to cash of the 2.1 million. We would have credited bonds payable for 2 million only, and then credited a premium, because it issued at a premium here, for the excess amount, for the difference between the 2 million, the 140,400. Okay, notice how that makes sense real quickly, all the way back from what we learned in earlier problems. Notice that the stated interest rate is higher than what the market interest rate is. Therefore, the market is willing to pay a premium on that bond to get the higher interest rate. But ultimately, in some of the examples that we've discussed in class, we found that even though a bond costs a higher amount at the beginning, the ultimate increase in that interest rate, when you reinvest those and recompound the interest that you're getting, it ultimately yields what the market is demanding, okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Watch the next video for EC6 to see the last scenario.